Anyone else want to share? Wow, that's so nice to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, it is true. And I'm so glad that you was able to share that during your journey. Go right ahead, BG.
and as I was saying before, sweep those corners. So I got all I think I got all the cobwebs this time.
No, I'm so glad that you was able to join this because you had a lot to bring to the table. Dr. Carolyn, you've been here with us for every one of these conversations, watching each panelist share their truth and evolve. From your perspective, what are your observations on the panelist growth and the season's themes?
Well, uh, if I may be candid before I make my comment, uh, I would like for us to take a brief moment. Uh, we we were privy to some news about our sister. So the therapist is having I'm having a moment.
Thank you so much. Healing is really a straight line. So, what setbacks or relapses have taught you the most about your resilience? Because I've seen resilience throughout each and every one of you. What setbacks or relapses have taught you the most about your resilience? Anybody want to share?
Well, I'll share something at this particular moment, and thank you all for allowing me to have my moment. Uh,
Yes, please.
you know, I often share with my clients. I have I have something that I often say, and that is that it's okay to not be okay. One of the things that I have uh, discovered about resilience and throughout our journey together here on the panel, This wasn't intentional, but I found myself um, redefining words for us, or redefining phrases for us, because what I do understand is that it's our perspective and how we look at a thing or how we see a thing, which will allow us to maybe respond to things in a much more different way. And when we use that term resilient, lots of times people would call me and they'll say, "Hey, Dr. Carolyn, how are you doing?" And I would respond and say, "I feel resilient." You know, I feel,
Mm.
because we have such a habit of always saying, "Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay." And we rehearse that narrative so much until we just believe it ourselves. We really believe it ourselves that
Yeah.
every day we just okay, or even if we just know that we're really not okay, we have rehearsed the narrative so much as if though we are in some kind of a dramatic play or something, where we feel like if people ask me, I have to say I'm okay, or I'm doing fine. Or if you're a religious person, then you might say something like, "Oh, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored." At that point, the world is falling apart. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in discretion. I believe that we have people that we feel comfortable with disclosing or not disclosing to. But when I think about resilience, just like I had this moment, and not really, I'm in tears right now. Um, there would have been years and years ago that I would not have said to you all, "Hey, right now on set, I'm having a moment." Because I've done lots of television and stuff like that, and I know that you just don't do that kind of thing on TV. But one of the things that I have found out about myself and about people, and I try to set that example for people, because most people would say of me that I'm a pretty strong person. I'm strong because of him. So that's the first thing I want to say. But it's okay to not be okay. And I think resilience is best demonstrated when we show people that we are human. We are not machines. We're not robotical. We have moments. We cry. We get angry. We get mad. And so it's okay to be with people in a very human way, so that they too can understand, you know what? Wow, I'm still resilient. I'm making it through this, but at this moment, I may not be faring off very well. I may not be doing very well. And that's okay. And this is part of how we can normalize when we talk about mental health disparities and stuff like that. Because we want to keep ourselves very real, even though we're encountering something. So I've always been a pretty real and
Yeah.
authentic person, but I do know that I'm a professional, and so I was really big on presentation, but I don't know if this has something to do with age or just where I am in life.
No, it
Um,
doesn't have anything to do with age. It's just
I
something
just,
that
but now
it's
I
just something that's natural.
exactly. I just let people experience me. This and in this moment, I'm here with people that I love, and I just heard some news, and I'm not okay. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that, and it's okay, especially when you're in a safe space. But I am going to make it through it. That's the resilient part. I am making it through it. I showed up and I'm here. So that's our level of resilience. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about this group of people is that we have formed what I would deem as a safe space, where we're able to be a bit more open about where we are in our emotional and mental uh, uh, spaces within ourselves. And I think that's a good
Let me ask
demonstration for the world to see.
let me
Hmm.
ask the panel this question. For each of you, what is the one thing you are no longer apologizing for?
Can I speak on that?
Yep.
I think the from a very young age, most of us are, for lack of a better term, educated or told. We we're given this false dichotomy. Like, the first thing you hear as a boy, as a child, oh, men don't cry, and we grow up, you know, believing these things or embracing these things that were given as children, as youth, and it carries over into adulthood, and that's one of the reasons why you have so many people who are financing the lifestyles of psychologists and psychiatrists. I being one.
Yeah.
Um, but I think to the point of your question, one of the things that I stopped doing about 4 or 5 years ago is I stopped apologizing for being me. I stopped apologizing to people, and the idea, the concept is, oftentimes you hear people say, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." No, I work very, very hard doing what I do. I may, in certain circumstances, I may apologize for what I say or the way I say it, but seldom will I ever apologize for what I say, because what I say, I stand on truth. So I will not apologize for being me.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much, BG. Anybody else want to share?
I can share because it kind of goes in line with what BG said as far as him being him. I feel like for me, I'm going to stop. I'm being intentional about not apologizing for choosing me. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
was just talking to Farron earlier, and we were just having a conversation about like certain decisions that I've made. You know, all and it probably stems from like a long history of people pleasing and just really wanting to be there for everybody. And then you get to this space where you just realize that everybody's choosing them, and you're choosing them, and and it's like, okay, well, who's choosing me? And
Right.
so even though I love to show up for people and to be there for people and to help them and support them, I realized, like, even just this morning, that it's also kind of backing me into a wall where it made me feel like I'm mismanaging the things that I prayed for, the things that God has given me. And so in order to just do my due diligence showing him that I can handle what I pray for and what he's shown me, like, I have to learn how to manage that better, even if that means like telling somebody else no, so I can have my stuff together. So I am going to be very
Wow.
intentional about not apologizing for choosing me.
Amen.
Well, thank you for that. And we
I'd like
shouldn't
to say I'd
ever
like to say
apologize for
something.
choosing us.
I'd like to add something to that, Diamond, if I could. Um, I
Sure.
love what Shayna said. That was very powerful and very thought provoking and profound, all wrapped up in one. And lots of times we all come to that place where we realize that maybe we're not fully showing up for ourselves, but we're showing up for other people. So I'd like to put a question out there for the panel to think about. Ask yourself the question, how can I show up best for the people that I love? How can I show up best for the people that I love? Because when we ask ourselves that question, we're going to find on that list that one of the answers will probably be or should be, I can show up best for the people that I love by first showing up for me. That's the way I can show up best for people. It's by, see, and sometimes we
I love
really
it.
kind of get that mixed up because we think that, okay, I'm just going to show up for this person, that person, this person, that person, and we feel like we're doing our best. And when helping you is hurting me, that's not showing up as your best self. So I just like for us to think about that. Ask yourself the question, how can I best show up for the people that I love and care about? How can I do that? And then the answer should be is by showing up for me first and being the best version of myself, taking care of myself mentally, spiritually, holistically. Showing up for myself is the best way that I can show up for people that I love. And I'll add to that and I'll close. And sometimes we need to send out the memo. I can't show up for you at this time of my life because I need to show up for me first. I need to start showing up for me first so that I can come back and show up for you better.
Yeah.
I wanna answer my own question. For each of you, I asked, what is the one thing you are no longer apologizing for? And I found myself saying, wow, I'm asking them this question, but I'm going to ask myself the same question. And I figured my answer was plain and simple, something I've always said. I am no longer apologizing for apologizing. I will not apologize for apologizing. I won't do it, and I just I can't do it. When I say something, I say what I mean. I'm not going to take it back, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So if anyone is going to wait for an apology, they'll be waiting for a long time, because I don't say something that I don't mean. So I'm very careful with the words that I choose to say. Some may say, "Oh, that's rude." And I'm not going to sit there and say, "I'm sorry you feel like that." I won't sit there and say that's just your perspective of the way that you accepted what I say. But I'm not going to explain myself because I think that I made myself perfectly clear as what I said. So I had to sit back and think about that question. I said, is it fair for me to ask them that question and I don't answer it myself? And it took me just about a minute just to figure it out that I can't keep apologizing for apologizing. It's just too much and it's just too heavy to carry with me. So I just unloaded that weight off of my back. And to tell you the truth, it felt good. So who or what in your life has changed because you started to shift and heal? So if
I'm
you've been
sorry.
on
Can
this
you repeat?
journey, I noticed a shift and a lot of healing with everyone. Who or what? Who or what in your life has changed because you started to shift or heal?
Everybody.
Lots of friendships. You get to see who your real friends are for sure.
I have I have
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There are five people who had sworn to be lifelong friends that they no longer associate with me right now since I started this shift, since I made this shift. But
Well, it's only two people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
no, I'm just reminded of, I think it was um oh gosh, the poet Maya Angelou. If she says if God removes someone from if God removes someone from your presence, let them go. Don't try to hold on to people. Don't try to hold on to people to the point that it equates a detriment to you. I'm there's something I think I heard the author's name was Rand. There's a 1964 I think a 1964 novel, but there's something called the virtues of selfishness. Her name was Anne Lewis. The
Mm.
virtues of selfishness simply means that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Ethiopia, a country that's starving, to try to put together a barge to send to Europe. So if you can't take care of yourself, what good are you to anybody else? So I stand on that. I
It's
stand
true.
on that platform. The virtues of selfishness. If you practice the virtues of selfishness, you got to take care of you first. And most people interpret that or view that as being selfish, but without being selfish, everybody has to be a little bit selfish. Because if you can't help yourself, what can you do for me?
Yeah, it's true. Nicole, I believe you was going to say something.
Well, throughout this journey, I kept two close friends, and I'm learning to say no. And that's been a problem for me. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to say yes to everybody, and I'm learning that I really can't do that because that will only drain me, and I won't be able to be good for anybody else if I'm not good for myself.
The virtues of selfishness.
Well, for me, it just also goes back to, your
I
question that everybody can't go with you. So it's almost like be careful what you pray for, because I ask God to remove people who shouldn't be there anyway, because everybody can't go where I'm going. And so the people who are here are supposed to be here. And for me, that that's
that's
good
true.
enough for me,
Sometimes
because what's
you
more,
have to.
I applaud you for that.
Sometimes you have to remove yourself out of the space of others because it's not healthy for you to maintain that space or to figure that it's in the best interest of the other person. What about in the best interest of yourself? I've had friends, well, I'm not even going to say friends, people who I've grown up with, and many of them say that you've changed. And I said, how so? And they said that you seem a little different. You know, we always knew that you were quiet, but you just really just pulled back a lot.
Good.
Well, I'm just letting them know that somebody poked the bear, and the bear is wide awake now, and that's going to be a problem because I don't think the bear is going back to sleep because it's been poked too many times. So I think that I'm going to move forward with that. But there's some people that I do need in that by addressing them with certain situations, and I'm not caring how they take it because it needs to be said because I'll be relieved. They may not feel that way. They may feel that I was wrong in saying what I was saying. Well, I said what I said.
And I
And
meant well.
that's going to be the bottom line of
Mhm.
that. And yeah, of course, I meant it because I don't apologize. I'm not apologizing for anything.
No,
So
no.
I will be having conversations with people that probably will be coming up soon. That probably will be surprise.
I intended on
And that was the
I,
old person.
I intended on sharing this on our last broadcast. I did tell Diamond, and I didn't get a chance to share it. I was going to share this at the end when we were coming to the end. And I can't remember what made me want to share it, but we
Go
are
right ahead.
sometimes when we talk about change, we're looking to get to an arrival spot or to get to a destination. And because we are magnificent human beings, where we should always stay in our mind, in our head, is that our growth is perpetual. It is perpetual. So it's not about that I have become something, because then when that changes, then there's a certain amount of disappointment that so it's not that I have become something. I am becoming.
Mhm.
That is my that is my state of being, is that I am becoming. I am becoming. And when does that end? It does not end. Because I am becoming. Even when we transition, we become something else. I live because I am becoming. Now, what happens in relationships with people when we talk about friendships? So let's just say if Farron is busy on her perpetual life journey and she is becoming, she is evolving. She's always evolving, right? So she's doing that. But if there are people in her life around her and they're doing that, they're stuck. They're not evolving. They're
Mm.
stuck. Then there's going to be an automatic friction,
Mhm.
because you got one person who's evolving and another individual is stuck. And so it's not like you're meaning to leave them, or you have intention or in abandoning them. And it's not like they intend on treating you any particular kind of way. It's just that, you know, they're stuck and you're becoming. And as you're becoming, you're going to find that those relationships are not going to be the same. It is automatically going to happen. It's not anything planned. It is just it's automatically, because we are not. And when we talk about compatibility, we are not divinely compatible. We are not. I want everybody to remember that we are not divinely compatible. Maybe we were compatible at one point in my life because I was at a space. Now that I am evolving, I'm not at that space anymore. So we are not divinely compatible, you know. And because we're not divinely compatible, it's inevitable that there is going to be a separation or moving away. The good news is that when that person gets on the roll and they start to their journey of becoming, it is very possible that we may collide and meet back up again. That is very possible. So that's how we know not to take it personal. It's just that I am becoming. That's what I'm doing. I am in a perpetual state of being and growing. And I was one kind of author this year. This year, I'm a different kind of author. I wrote on certain things this year. This year, so when people come to you and say, "Wow, Shana, you really have changed up." No, no, I haven't. I have not changed up. I am becoming. I am becoming the person that God always intended for me to be. I'm not being brand new. I'm just becoming the person that God always wanted me to be. And here's the thing, and I'll close with this. But the people who love you and the people who are divinely connected to you, they're gonna get with that. They're gonna get with that version of Shayna. They'll get with that version. Hey, Queen, I like where you are. I like what you're becoming. As a matter of fact, I like it so much. I want to get on. I want to get on that too. I want to get. I want to get with that. I want to get with that too. So it's a matter of that we are becoming. We are perpetual human beings that are not supposed to be stuck, but we are human beings. We are beings that are evolving. We are evolving every day, every minute, every second, every hour. We are evolving.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I'm hoping that people heard that because life happens, life experience happens, and people move along with that experience. And it's not that it's changed them, it's just that they're absorbing what they are experiencing. And it could be a wonderful thing for some, but then there's some that it could be very scary. So that support is still needed. It's not that they're not your friend or a part of your life. It's just that they're experiencing a different part of their life, which was designed for them. And it doesn't mean that you're excluded. It's just that they're going through a process that could be very scary for them as well. So they'll reach out or speak to you or however your relationship was. They didn't leave you behind and they're not planning on leaving you behind. It's just that they're going through a different experience. And you may be going through that same one someday. So as they go through that experience, when they see that you're going through it, they're there to be able to help and support you through it because they've experienced it already. So just give them that time. Don't think that you've been left behind because you're not. So what I want to ask is if you had to describe this season's journey in one word, what would it be and why? But before you do that, I want Dr. Carolyn. Can you summarize and speak about life over the panel's answer? So as they give their one word, I would like for you to speak about life over their answer with one word. So if anybody can tell me, describe this season's journey in one word. What would it be and why?
I would say mine would be stretch, is my one word. And you said why. So I think I've shared before. So in October of 2024, I took the leap of faith to step into entrepreneurship. Now, it's not the first time I took the journey, or the leap. The first time I took it, it didn't really end well. And I say that I learned a lot, but I also feel like I may have leaped prematurely. And so as I some days wrestle with if this leap was that again, because certain things aren't lining up, or there are other days, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, and you got to like just make
Hmm.
ends meet literally. There have been times where I've questioned, like, God, like, did I hear you correctly? I'm not even gonna say I question, but I'm like, I want to question, but my heart, my spirit, like everything, I know that I'm in the right season, but that doesn't mean it's not hard. And so, like, there are days like I want to give up. Like, should I just go get a job? Did I hear correctly, God? He show up just like that. Like every time I'm second guessing myself, or just wondering like if I heard correctly, if I'm gonna make the same mistake again. He show up every time. And so with him showing up every time, it stretches me further. Like it's like, okay, I could take another step. Okay, I have another day to add to this entrepreneurship. And flight as it's kept, like, even though there are certain things that are not completely in place the way I want them to, this is year one. I'm already in month 8. Like it'll be 1 year in October. And last year I didn't even make it 2 months, or 2 years ago when I did it, I didn't even make it 2 months. So here I am 8 months in, still believing God,
Congratulations.
still walking on water, still like, just stretching my faith. And so I just, it has to be my season for this word. And I'm allowing him to do it. And I'm in that place of uncomfortability and uncertainty, but like, he's still showing up. Like I've said a prayer today. I said, God, like I just heard this testimony that you did. My friend said she asked God to, that she didn't really trust him in the area of her finances. So can you, just show me right quick, almost asking for a mantle. And so I think that's the right word, a fleece, not a mantle, a fleece. And so I said, well, God, I said, let me try this fleece thing. I said, Lord, if you really want me to do this, and I'm coming to you correctly, like as your daughter, humbly, if this is a move that I believe you're telling me to make, um, show up, put a deposit in my account. And I went to sleep. I took a nap. Like, and this was like an hour ago. I took a nap, and my nap was only about 30 minutes. And then I woke up because it was time to get on the show. And then my first lady called me, and she said, she was just talking or whatever. And she said, did you check your bank account? And I was like, well, no, I didn't check it because I wasn't really, you're like, I'm expecting stuff, but I'm not expecting that stuff. She said, well, don't check it. Just know that it's in there. I said, well, come on, God. Like, you know, and it was from, and I know it was God because one, it was from a reputable source. Like it wasn't for just like some random. I mean, not to say it's random because God moves, I think, in the random, but it was just
Well, you picked
it was
a.
so intentional and purposeful, and I was just like Lord, you hear me? And like I know I'm in the right season. It's hard, but you told Peter if he stepped out on that boat and kept his eyes on you, then you was gonna grab him. So I'm like, I'm believing you in that season. So
Well,
that
I
was
think, Shayna, that you picked the perfect word, stretch. Dr. C, what one word do you have for Shayna? One word reflection about her one word. Her one word was stretch.
I got to see this.
I
I
love
agree.
doing this to
I
you
have a
guys.
word.
I agree with the one word. I
Yeah.
agree with the one word, the stretch. I think that's a phenomenal
Yeah.
word for her. I think I would add to it authentic, authentic, because I saw
Oh,
her post something.
Oh.
I saw her post something today, like a 21-day platform thing that she's doing. And when I saw it, I said, "That's you, girl, right there. That's you right there. That is you." So I think Shayna is coming into her authentically. I think she's coming into her.
I believe that. I received that, and I
is
thank you for
anybody
that. And
else?
it's
Just one
not
more
going to take
I
person.
have a
Rashida,
word.
one word.
I have one word.
Who? What is your word?
Strength or strengthening. It takes a
Strength.
lot of strength to be authentic and to stretch. It takes a lot of strength.
Amen.
Okay. So, Dr. C, she said strength. What is your one word that reflects on her word for strength?
Woo! I would have thought these would have been easier. I'm going to say flexibility.
Oh, okay.
I,
Flexibility.
I'm, yeah,
And I'm
I'm
going to
going.
tell you.
I'm gonna say flexibility.
I know.
Flexibility.
And that word, both for both of you, it fits because I know Nicole, and she has been flexible. You got to get to know, and she has been flexible, and she's been flexible in so many different ways that it has been a stretch for her. And again, you have to get to know her, but I'm very proud of her for making the moves that she's made and becoming who she's meant to be. So I love that for her. So, what promise do you want to make to yourself moving forward from this season? You get one person that needs to answer that. What promise do you want to make to yourself moving forward from this season?
I will say to keep showing up and being intentional. That's the promise I'm keeping for myself is to keep
I
showing.
love that word intentional.
Yeah, that's the promise.
So what would you say? And I think that's a perfect word. I've mentioned that word to someone else, and it fits them. To me, it fits them. And to be intentional is to be intentional.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who's listening who feels like their cracks mean they can't ever be whole? Dr. C, can you leave a prescription for the audience in the panel, a challenge or affirmation to carry forward?
First, I would say, how do you as an individual define being whole? That's very important because if you look at if let's I'm just going to pretend I'll say, well, Black Diamond is a whole person. And if I try to measure my life up according to the way that I see her as whole, that's how I frame my definition as whole, then I'm already going to be disappointed. So, one, what is your definition of being whole? Okay? What is your The Bible tells us that God wants us to be whole and entire and lacking nothing. And I
Yes.
love that. He wants us to be lacking nothing. And immediately when we think of lacking nothing, we automatically think of money. And I would say to be whole, we got to get our mind out of thinking about money all the time. Okay. Because lacking nothing. So, what does that mean to you? What does wholeness mean to you? It's getting a good definition of what a whole life means to you, and a striving to live a whole life, body, soul, and spirit. What does that mean to you? That would be my uh,
Wow.
prescription. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that look like for you, and allowing yourself to be intentional about. And when we talk about intentionality and being intentional is one of my favorite words that I use every day. But let's just say that you say to yourself, well, I feel that being whole is this. Okay. So being intentional means is what I'm doing right now, is the decision that I'm making right now going to put me in the place of wholeness of where I want to be. So, no, it is not. Then I need to be intentional about coming away from that space, that environment, those people. It's about being intentional, not living life haphazardly, but being intentional about your goals, whether they're spiritually, mentally, financially, being an intentional person in everything that you do.
Thank you so much for that. When we started this journey, I didn't know how deep we'll go. I just knew we needed something real, something raw, something that spoke to the broken places we've all been taught to hide. What I've witnessed over these past few months is nothing short of sacred. I've seen people step out from behind shame and into their truth. I've seen tears become testimonies and silence become strength. Some of us came in thinking we were too damaged, too far gone, too unfinished to begin again. But what we found was this: It's not the absence of cracks that's making us strong, it's what we choose to do with them. It's how we rise anyway, how we speak when we used to swallow our voice, how we walk when we used to crawl just to get by. This isn't the end, it's a sacred pause, a breath before the next chapter. And I hope that whatever and wherever this message finds you, you feel seen, you feel reminded, you feel worthy because you are. So, from my heart to yours, I want to thank you. Thank you for showing up, for standing in it, for staying when healing got hard. And as you go, I pray you remember this. You don't have to be whole to be worthy, you just have to be willing. So, until next time, I am Black Diamond, and this has been Cracks in the Surface, Strengths in the Core, Not Easily Broken. We rise, and we don't rise alone. But we're not alone, and we're not done. I want you to mark your calendars because on Friday, September the 5th at 8 o'clock, right here, we're going back. We're coming back with Dr. Carolyn Stevens for a special episode celebrating the Distinguished Authors Guild DAG nominees. It's going to be a special night of recognition, resilience, and inspiration. Until then, keep rising, keep growing, and as always, thanks for keeping it basic. Oh gosh, this journey, it has been something that helped me along the way. And you guys being present, I felt like, I'm going to be selfish right now. I felt like you were present for me in ways that I couldn't even explain. There has been things that has been going on behind the scenes that I'm going to be honest that I was too embarrassed to reveal, and that's still happening right now. But things are clearing up, so I do see an opening for me, and I'm happy with that. And I'm making decisions. This time, I'm making decisions for me. And I'm gonna tell you, I was scared because decisions have always been made for me growing up, for me to do this, for me to do that. But now that I have a decision that I have to make, I'm scared because I have other people's lives in my hand. And it bothers me every day. Am I going to make the right decision? Is this decision just for me, or is it for everybody? Who's going to benefit from it? But I'm not trying to be selfish. For over 40 years, I have been taking care of other people. Now I have to take care of me. And I've been seeing it every day. I go in the mirror and I look and I say, that's not even me. I don't know who that person is, but it's not me. So I want to get back to me. I want to get back to happy. But as I said, that the pear has been poked and she's wide awake now. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. Sure. It's true. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's like the airplane.
Yeah.
That's that airplane ride. You have to put the mask on yourself before you can put it on the next person.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I'm at now.